All right, big rallies in cities across Russia today protesting government corruption there. At the Moscow demonstration, about 500 people were detained. That's according to state-run media. But a Russian human rights group put that number at more than 700. Russian police called the protests illegal. CNN senior international correspondent Matthew Chance joining us live now from Moscow. So, Matthew, these protests were focusing on allegations surrounding the Russian prime minister. What is he accused of doing?
Yeah, Dmitry Medvedev is his name, and he's accused of being corrupt. He's accused by the main opposition figure here, Alexei Navalny, of controlling a sort of vast property empire, of having vineyards, of having yachts. One of the properties he's said to own has a special house that's been built in it for his pet duck. And so it's sort of classic sort of corruption, Eastern Europe type of allegations that are against him. His spokesman, for the record, categorically denies all of these allegations. But it's obviously touched a nerve with the Russian public because thousands of people came out all across the country to voice their demand for him to resign or for him to be thrown out of office.
And so, Matthew, I understand that one of those detained is a prominent Russian who also has announced his intention to run for president next year.
Yeah, this is Alexei Navalny. He's the main opposition figure in Russia. He's the person who called these protests. He was detained basically as soon as he reached central Moscow, and he's being kept in police custody overnight. He's a controversial figure in the sense that he's been accused of affinities with ultra-nationalists, and so he's somebody who doesn't necessarily unite the anti-Putin opposition in this country. But nevertheless, he's got a brilliant way of cutting through social media, of getting people out onto the streets, and to, really tapping into this sense of injustice in this country about the level of corruption in Russia.
So does this at all reflect the popularity of President Vladimir Putin?
Well, I think from Putin's point of view, it's pretty worrying to see thousands of people out on the streets, although at the same time this is a country of more than 140 million people. Putin's personal popularity ratings are at about 84%, according to the last opinion polls that I've seen. And so he's in a pretty much unassailable position, it seems. But, these protests, these public protests, the Kremlin is very sensitive about. It doesn't like the idea that any proportion of its population is out on the streets protesting against it. It's very sensitive about corruption. And so it will be watching whether these protests develop very closely indeed.
Matthew Chance, thank you so much reporting from Moscow. Appreciate it.